So, hi guys, welcome back to, I guess, another video. And this one is going to be a little bit different than what I have done in the past. It's going to be basically a get ready with me video because I don't have enough time to do a proper, more scripted video, and the one that I had planned for this week required a bit more than I thought it would, like a bit more time, because it's about a book review that I haven't actually been able to finish just yet. I don't know why I thought it was going to be shorter. But nonetheless, this video is going to be a get ready with me sort of video where I'm doing my makeup and I'm going to be talking about a subject that's very near and dear to my personal heart. Nobody else's. I'm kidding. And that is why I want to be an artist and a writer and that kind of jazz. So while I do my makeup and get ready for going out to a very interesting event, we're gonna talk a little bit. So, a little background check on me. I was born in Bucharest in 2003 on April 2nd, which basically means that tomorrow is my birthday. And I was born into a family of corporate people, managers and stuff. And I wasn't really the type of kid that was super loud or, had a lot to say or was very extroverted. Actually, I lied about the didn't have a lot to say part, because from what I recall, my mom told me that I talked a whole lot. But anyhow, at a very young age, my parents kind of started to notice that there was a bit of an artistic side to their kid, and they didn't really know what to do with that, I used to draw and sketch a lot, but they didn't really think anything of it, and frankly, neither did I, because I was a little child. Beauty blender. Yeah, and basically my parents really had this thing for teaching me how to appreciate classical music and everything. So I don't know, I was brought up into a family of people that, although came from a very corporate sort of space, they really appreciated arts. My grandpa, actually, he, even though he was an engineer his entire life, he actually wrote a lot of poetry during his life. He's not with us anymore. And he never published anything. And, yeah, all of them kind of urged me to take painting lessons and things like that and just have some creative outlets. So, growing up, I definitely had a very good relationship with art, and I understood the deeper meaning that it's not just a picture in front of you, it's someone's expression of who they are or of how they felt in that moment, and I really appreciated that. However, I will say that for the most part, even though I was encouraged to kind of have these passions and stuff, I wasn't really encouraged to pursue an artistic career. Like, yeah, you can go and do all of this, but really you're gonna be working in management or something like that. Especially my grandma, she was really big on that. And for a really, really long time, I was like, yep, of course that's what I'll be doing, because I know you cannot get food on the table, or so I've been told, with art. And, if my grandpa didn't make this kind of commitment and take this kind of risk, then why would I? He was so talented, in my opinion, when I would read his poetry and everything, that I just, I could not understand what would make me that special that I would do something about what I thought would be my talents. However, I will say that my passion for reading started a bit later than my passion for painting or anything like that. So, surprisingly enough, I didn't really think of becoming a writer for a really, really, really long time. Like, it just wasn't something that I had any interest in or was on the horizon for me. Also, I, you know, doing a lot of artistic pursuits growing up kind of made me very indecisive about what I wanted to do, especially because since I was 3 years old and up until I was 10 years old, so about 7 years, I did ballet. And for a long time, I thought that was my calling, even though I didn't seem particularly excited to my family about it. And fine, that was because, especially my grandma, she used to push me to do a lot of things. You know, basketball, other things that I'm completely forgetting right now, karate, that kind of jazz. And it just, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life because I truly felt like I needed an outside push every single time, since that's how I was raised, with people telling me what to do, when to do things, how to do things. Just, I truly, truly felt like I had no control over my life or nothing to contribute, or I just didn't know myself well enough as a kid. Yeah, so I basically always waited for some kind of outside idea of what I should do. And that was really crucial for me growing up because I always relied on other people to tell me who I am, you know? When it comes to career, when it comes to my talents, I always sought validation from other people so that I could evaluate where I was and if anything made me special, because I desperately wanted to be special just like everyone else, which is funny. Now, I didn't really find reading super duper interesting up until, I think, middle school? Whoa. Yeah, because people in my family really, really loved reading, and they always urged me to do the same and to kind of have that. I have a brush on the end of this. And to have that kind of rich inner world that reading offers you, and to really develop it, and to develop my vocabulary, and to, I don't know, it just felt elitist a little bit. And because my grandma, my mom, my grandpa, my dad were all really into reading, and I just felt like the odd one out, and I also didn't want to do it because it was like I kind of wanted to be a bit of the black sheep of the family at times. We don't talk about that. And it wasn't until middle school that I basically started to read a bit more and do so out of actual enjoyment, you know, not because the program at school was asking us to do so. Whoa, that was okay. But yeah, just because I actually enjoyed it. And I do owe a lot of that to my best friend in middle school at the time, whom I still talk to these days. She was a really, really big bookworm. She still is. She's now in a different country for university. And yeah, basically, with her help and all of her recommendations, I actually started to read. And it was lovely because I did not expect to find this completely magical world in books. I only thought that that could be achieved through more visual stuff like movies or paintings or stuff like that, or through movement, which I wasn't doing anymore because I was kind of giving up on sports at that time, or dances or anything. And I will say that in middle school I was a pretty mediocre student, so I didn't base a lot of my personality off of liking to read, but it was forming. So, for the rest of middle school, with all the somewhat mean people and everything going around, I just didn't feel like talking about how much I liked reading, if I did, because I was called mediocre a lot, and worse terms. So I just felt like I couldn't possibly say that I was enjoying reading because that felt like a smart thing to do, and people didn't consider me smart in my class. Or so I gathered. Maybe it was a me thing. And I just didn't talk about it, like, at all. I was like, okay, I'm not going to mention it to anyone. It's just gonna be my little secret. Me and my best friend who's offering me book recommendations and everything. And so it was. I didn't really flaunt that I liked to read or write, because I was starting to write a little bit. And so, with that, 4 years out of my life, I pretended to be somebody else than I truly was. Not the first time. Not the first time I do that or I undermine myself for the sake of others. And yeah, when middle school kind of ended, I felt like I got a big break because I didn't have to see those people anymore. And so I completely detached from a lot of my colleagues, and I didn't talk to them for a really long time. And I do also associate me not talking to my best friend quite as much at some points to the vision that I had about middle school, because we didn't talk for a really long time until I kind of texted her or something like that, which we're gonna get into how that came to happen as well. But yeah, basically high school started, and because once again insecurities got the best of me, I didn't do the best of jobs in my exams for high school. Not baccalaureate, Jesus Christ. Anyhow, you have some exams in middle school, and basically based off of those grades that you take, you get into a certain high school. And I got into, once again, what was known, at least at the time, based on the grade, as a pretty mediocre high school. However, knowing that nobody knew me there gave me the occasion to absolutely do whatever I wanted, to be whoever I wanted, and I chose to be the nerd. You know, I chose to be one of those people that just studied a lot, read a lot, and did a lot of things. And so I did that. Successfully so. Made a couple of friends. We didn't really have a lot of things in common, me and my friends. It was a rough period of time, but nonetheless, it was a bit too late to think about all of that stuff because I'd had already achieved this kind of idea of a new personality, but I still thought I was going to end up being, you know, a person in management or something like that, you know, as my parents are. So I took my baccalaureate exam, and in that one, with all the confidence, with everything, I actually did all right. Like, pretty good. And, you know, it was in my last year of high school, actually, preparing for my baccalaureate exam, that I got my first taste of maybe I'm not gonna do that. Maybe I'm not gonna work in management and have a corporate lifestyle. Because at some point, my Romanian tutoring teacher, reading, you know, my creative compositions and stuff, because one of the exercises that we have for the baccalaureate exam is this creative essay. She said, listen, kid, I don't care what you think, but I don't see you happy in life unless you're locked in a room with a piece of paper, a pen, and nothing else. writing your heart and your hands off. And that was the biggest compliment that I've ever received from somebody that didn't really know me that well. And it kind of prepared a little change. It was the first key that was unlocked. Key lock unlocked. You get where I'm going. Yeah, and after that, after high school and after getting over my baccalaureate exam and everything, and not being able to decide what college to go to, my dad suggested that I take a year off and work with him in some countries in Africa. I mainly worked in Ivory Coast, but basically it was a paid internship at the place that he used to work at, and I was 18, so it was legal. And so I did, and I went there for about 2 months, not really speaking much French because I did both German and French. I did German in middle school, besides English, which I did from kindergarten. And French, I actually started in high school. But the people that I worked with were really, really, really nice. And they really tried to accommodate me by speaking English, even though it wasn't something that they really were exactly comfortable with, I guess, and everything. So it was really nice. But I got to work on my French. I got to work in different departments, mostly in sales. And afterwards, I worked a little bit in HR. I got more of the theoretical part of that one rather than the practical. And yeah, that was that. After 2 months, I came back home and I still had, I worked 3 months actually. 2-3 months, something like that. After that, I came back home and I still had the rest of the year to do what? I asked myself. And so I decided that the best way to go is to just get another job and work until the next year when I actually go to college and decide on a college. And so I did, and I worked as a barista for 9 months, which was an amazing and completely outside of my comfort zone experience. Talking to that many people when you're a person that's really anxious is something else. That's all I'm going to say. Has taught me a tremendous amount of everything. Patience, self-control, faking it. Yeah, pretty much all the good stuff. And then I went to college, and I actually decided, finally, on a college that was still in Romania, even though I didn't really want that. I wanted to go abroad. I wanted to go to the UK. But I didn't really have enough time to plan the whole thing, unfortunately, because I worked up until 1 week before I started college, by the way. So there went my summer vacation, which I'm still thankful for. Still great experiences. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah. And so I went to this college that I found kind of interesting. It was in communication and emerging media. That was the profile. It was in English, fully taught in English, and I thought that that was really, really, really interesting. And so I went into basically last year, where I met so many really nice and really beautiful and artistic people that encourage each other, which was so amazing for me, having the past experiences of middle school, high school, elementary school, like everything. I won't get too much into those things, but it was horrible. And coming here and seeing all of these people that were so supportive, and meeting my best friend that I'm actually living with as we speak, and having talks with her about starting a YouTube channel, moving in together, her pursuing her musical career, me pursuing writing because she read some of my stuff. I owe a lot of the courage that I got to even start this channel to her, in a way. And to past trauma. I'm not denying that. But having people that push you to do something, having people that challenge you, having people that see you for who you are and that put the effort in every day to make you feel seen and heard and supported, unless it's immoral to do so, is such an experience. I'm so thankful and grateful for the people that I'm surrounded with at the moment. You have no idea. As for me starting to talk with my middle school best friend, circling back to that, that kind of happened because I had a talk with my best friend right now, Alexandra. I didn't say Lexi. Yeah, she asked me why I don't talk to my middle school friends, and I was like, I don't know. And I haven't talked to them in so long, I just feel like I'm a bit embarrassed. And she was like, why? I don't know. Well, that's good reasoning. So at some point, someday, I texted her. And yeah, we're talking again. I cannot wait to meet her and talk about everything that I've missed, because I haven't been there for about 5 years. And I'm excited for the journey ahead. And I cannot wait to tell you everything. And I cannot wait to go on this journey together of writing a book, of being an artist and expressing myself, of going to therapy, which is great, And also just finally taking that leap of faith to actually express everything that I've observed growing up, because I was such a quiet kid. I was the kid that never said anything, and I will say, I think I owe most of my need for this kind of self-expression to this inner world that I've created, basically, for myself. Especially in situations that weren't friendly or in any kind of... It really helps in this creative domain. And I believe a lot of people have this thing. I refuse to believe that I'm the only one who has this creative outlet as a way of coping, and they've had it for a really, really, really long time, this inner fantasy world that they feel they need to share with the world. The rest of the world, you know? Yeah. Because I'm not really walking on the street. If you pay attention to me on the street ever, you realize that I'm probably 10,000 miles away thinking about dragons and, I don't know, weird, absurd concepts or something philosophical that I read about 50 minutes ago or 3 days ago or 2 years ago. It doesn't matter, I'm probably thinking about it. Which is probably why I'm so absent when I walk, a lot of the times. But that's okay, because it's good for art. You know, I tell myself that. And I also tell my best friend that every single time she has to pick me up from the streets. You know, and I tell my best friend that every single time she has to hold my hand so I don't walk in front of a car. Thank you, by the way. But yeah, I basically just wanted this video to kind of be very chill and just me talking to the camera about, you know, how some things happened. Don't look at me because I'm gonna line my waterline. I'm gonna spare you the absolute atrocity of that. So yeah, basically for everyone that has been thinking about having a creative career and completely repressing that, I think the best thing you can do is realize that a lot of the times those are not really your thoughts. They're someone else's projections of what they want you to do or themselves in you. And get yourself a good group of friends. If you can afford going to therapy or getting any kind of mental health help, please go for it. I don't know what else. Actually, yes, I do know what else. Don't forget that you always have something to bring, and there's enough space for you anywhere that you want to go. Your unique perspective is the only thing that you need to bring to the table. You don't have to be some kind of mastermind. You don't have to, I don't know. I feel like all of these people compare themselves to geniuses, or what we consider to be geniuses when it comes to certain creative domains. But those people also didn't know they were geniuses, or if they did, you know, good for them. But nonetheless, you have something special to bring just because you exist. So, I know it's very cliche and I'm telling you to not do something instead of do something, but love yourself the way that you are, because there is no right or wrong way to express yourself, and know that you're gonna be fine, and that you're beautiful just the way that you are, and you bring a lot of value to this world. Unless you're a serial killer. Then, yeah. Sorry, no. I know people hate this. Some people. I am not people, so I'm good. Sorry. You didn't need to see that. Oh, and don't forget, I'm sorry for this visual. If you care about your friends, challenge their creative pursuits. It's actually a tip that I would not have been able to give if it weren't for my best friend right now, who challenged me a lot to get out of my head. So challenge your friends to get out of their heads, because it's really good for both of you. What is this hair? I don't know how I feel about it. Anyhow, I think I'm done with my rambling. Maybe you're gonna see the outfit, maybe you won't. I don't know. We'll see. This is not the outfit, just in case you were wondering. But yeah, I guess this is my journey in a very brief way. I don't know what else to say. I hope it inspires you in some way, and I hope you relate to some things. And if I brought any insight, great. If I didn't, at least you feel good. You feel heard, seen, I hope. Because I just want to remind people that you do not need, what the heck is going on? That you do not need to be a certain way, or sound a certain way, or anything a certain way in order to be worth it, in order to make good money, because that matters. And although I put a lot of emphasis on getting help from other people, you hold the power to make all of the change. And I trust in you watching this to do something that's going to make you happy when you look back at your life.